with my new computer setup.
Yes. Hey, YouTube, welcome back. Do we need any instruments for this?
Instruments? I wasn't planning on it, but I wouldn't say no.
Yay! It was covered in water or slobber.
I was gonna say in gray slobber.
Possibly. Quite possibly. Oh shoot! Now I drew the attention to it. I'm very excited for this episode because
I plugged my headphones in as you were in the middle saying and I thought you were about to like curse up a storm or something.
I slashed the person my Russian. Ow! 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 No! Instrument in my hair. Okay. Hold on.
So I have a dual display now, Sierra. Can you hear me? Where did you go?
No. Did you say something to me?
Yes.
What did you say?
All the time, you guys. She disappears on me. I said I have a dual display now, and it's super exciting.
That's on your computer?
Yeah, this is my new setup. It has my big monitor with my wireless stuff, and then that goes up there.
Hey!
And I don't have to do the dual display, but it's kind of useful. And I actually figured it out this morning. Because at first I was like, why is my mouse not going across both of them? But then I figured it out.
Yeah, when I would go into the office for work, I did that all the time, and I love it.
There's so many possibilities.
I know. All right, I'm gonna get some more of these. So my thought was for this episode that I would like host it as if you're a guest.
Okay.
Does that sound fun? Like, oh, we're back, and guess who we have?
Oh my goodness, I'm so surprised.
Ta-da! All right, let me test my microphone. Microphone.
Now I have so much more room on my desk now. It's so nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, let me test my microphone since this is the first time using it with this computer. Hello. Yep. Okay.
All right, we're good there. But I do need my notes.
This is super exciting.
Got my notes.
It's so cold in my cement box that my nose is drippy.
What?
I said it's so cold in my cement box that my nose is drippy.
Oh, mine is too. Wait, I wanted to
drippy noses and red lips.
I want to send pictures to myself. Doot. So I can see them on my iPad, so I can discuss them if necessary.
Another fun thing with my new setup is my computer, I guess Microsoft or whatever has started to do better, like how Apple does, where there's an app for my phone and computer where they can talk to each other better, just like how you have, which is exactly what I wanted. And I downloaded like the Drive, like so that you can use like the Drive just like Dropbox on a computer, like everything can talk to each other and be seamless. And that's all I wanted was so it's easier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's awesome. Like changing to be able to.
It is. Now, if I can just get my Wi-Fi to consistently work, I will be like, zoom.
Hold on, I gotta get a potty.
Okay. She always does this to me, you guys. She just goes off and she just disappears and gets coffee or babies or chocolate. I don't know. Tell me in the comments, how does that make you feel that she constantly leaves us? I don't think she can even hear us right now because I don't think her headphones are in. It's kind of funny. And who knows if she'll ever watch this. So she won't even know that this happened. Oh, hi! Huh?
What did you say?
I don't know. Guess y'all to watch YouTube.
I guess so.
Do you have your earbuds in or ready or?
I didn't, so I really don't know what you said.
No, I know, but like, do you have them ready? Because I think it was one of the last times that you realized, oh crap,
Forgot.
what is wrong?
Yep, no, I just put them in right now.
I like your hair.
You like my hair like this? That's what you said? Do you like my hair like this?
I do.
Oh, but thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm ready.
Okay. Okay. Yes.
Oh, Grace ready.
Grace ready.
I feel like we don't usually wear red lipstick, but when we wear red lipstick, we always wear it together.
We do. Yeah. Red, it's
All right.
either red or fuchsia for me, but I just don't often wear lips. I go through phases, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I love it. All right, tell me when.
Dos. Tres.
14.
Emily's learning German in school.
She is?
Yeah, because BMW is like big around here, so they learn.
Right.
So she learned how to count like all the way to 100 yesterday, like by 10.
Wow. 1, 2, 3. No. Yeah. Vier,
It's my favorite number.
fünf. Yeah. That's so good. All right, ready? I got my notes ready. Oh, we got to clap. 1, 2, 3. All
Ooh,
right.
that was girl.
I almost started, but I didn't. Remember when I used to get nervous to start and I'd be like, okay, I got to try again.
Which is so funny because you're not a typically nervous person.
I think it was just because I had so many thoughts in my head of like how to do it right that it would like my words would get choked up.
You're-
Here, play with this. Play with this. Look, you can hold it. It's a baby passy from when you were a baby. Okay.
Oh shoot! Wait, the dog wants him now. Let me let her in. She'll lay down in bed and be good.
That's fine because the cat just knocked down one of the instrument thing. Oh, cats, don't play with the instruments. This is not time to play the maracas. Oh my word. Pet life.
Take 5.
All right. I just hid a maraca in my underwear drawer, so hopefully we're good.
Okay.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the In Raw Life podcast. We have a special guest, but I'm not going to tell you who it is yet because first I wanted to say, hey, welcome. You're here. We're so glad you're here. We're so glad you keep coming back. And if you feel so inclined with coming back over and over, subscribe so that you know when we have new episodes. I don't know. I feel like I should do it. Okay, good. You didn't have any facial expressions, so I didn't know what to think. Okay. Okay. So we would know because they would not expect to hear your voice. Anyway, hit the subscribe. While you're at it, why not rate and send a review? We would love to get a review from you so we can keep doing what we're doing. And not to mention, when you do that, it tells the people of the podcast land that our podcast is actually pretty freaking cool and that they should keep recommending it to others. So help us to grow by just subscribing and hitting boop a little 5-star if you are so inclined. Okay, now for our special guest. I'm so excited to interview her. You know her, you love her. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Jessica!
Hi. It's so nice to be here.
Welcome to the show, Jessica. I can't believe we finally got you on.
Oh my gosh, I know my schedule.
So, for those of you who are brand new, Jessica is the other co-host of the In Raw Life podcast. So she's on every episode, but I get to interview her about some pretty vulnerable stuff today. So that's why I wanted to set it up and tease you as I did. But before we get into all of that, well, just I guess to give you a heads up of what's coming, Jessica is an Enneagram type 2, and the type 2s desire to be loved and they fear not being lovable or being unworthy of love. And we are going to dive into that. It's going to be awesome. But first, Jessica, what is your rawality check?
Oh, my reality. So I was thinking about this yesterday because I knew we were recording today. I was like, I feel bad that like I don't have like I want to make sure that I really am sharing and being vulnerable and not like sometimes letting all the excitement and happiness take over and be like, oh, I really don't know what to share like I did last time. So it's kind of hard to like dig down deep and as a two to understand like what needs may not be being met to share what's raw and vulnerable, I
Like
guess.
being self-aware of what needs aren't being met?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
so. Not using that as like a crutch or anything, but just I think that maybe that kind of clouds understanding what could be shared even.
Mm.
So I think, let's see. So Sierra is currently, but who knows, she might already be moved by now. She's currently in the middle of moving, which we are working on this huge, exciting project, and we both were like super pumped and going, and we thought it was going to be already completely out by now. So then, like, it's taken me, it's hard on me to be like, oh, wait, well, like, what else can I do? What I just like, I want to take on more responsibility because I know that Sierra's doing her thing and she's got other life stuff going on. What can I do to like keep this going? But I don't really know. And some of the things I just are not my wheelhouse and they're Sierra's, or like I don't want to make decisions without her. So it's like it's been hard. And then like I know that I withdraw a little bit too, like if it's been long enough. So that's my reality. It's figuring out how to one, share what I'm thinking and feeling, two, know that I can take on the responsibility or just kind of do things. And also three, just know that it's continuing to be okay and we got this.
Yes.
That's my reality check.
So A, we totally got this. B, keep telling me if you feel like we don't, so we can talk through it. And C, we totally got this.
Amen.
But seriously, I'm coming to the end of my crazy, so hopefully things will. I actually feel like we've already launched it. I
I know.
mean,
Yes.
the second that somebody says, heck yes, I'm in, we're done and we send it to them. So we pretty much are where we wanted to be as of yesterday, which was in my, like, I think it was both of our goals to be launched as of January 11th. And yesterday was January 11th. And we finalized, like, okay, if somebody pushes that, like, purchase today or says, yes, I'm interested, we'll make it happen. So we hit our deadline in my mind.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
Um, okay.
I
So
have to bring up another thing. We are way on our way to our goal that we made in September of how many regular listeners we wanted.
yes.
We're more than halfway there. So people out there, just like Sierra said, share, share, share.
Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe.
What's your reality check today, Sierra?
Okay, so my reality check is that my house is on the market and I want to die.
Mm,
Fine.
that's cool. No worries.
Everything is fine. So, as an Enneagram type 7, I tend to be very optimistic constantly and try to keep a peppy attitude. But this morning, all I wanted to do was cry and call you and tell you that I didn't want to record today, but I'm persevering. Um, so okay, our house went on the market last Wednesday. It's now Tuesday, so that's been like a week. Getting ready to put it on the market was hell. It was just so exhausting trying to get everything cleaned. And as since we're super Enneagram today, as a 7, I go to a type 1 in stress, which is the perfectionist. So I became very perfectionistic, so much so that the cleaning lady, the realtor, and my husband begged me to stop making things perfect. It was yeah, it was a little crazy. But now that it's on the market, it's just weird. It's a really hot market, so we thought it would be sold by now. But I think our realtor asked to up the price right before we did it, and I think it's priced too high, so it's not selling. Which again, it's only been a week, so I know like usually this houses don't sell in a week, but right now in our area they do, and I was looking forward to that so that I could get back to like normal living and not feel like I had to live in a mausoleum which is how I feel because everything's perfected. I have certain things that are, as soon as we have a showing, I have to bring it down because either the babies or the cats will destroy it if it's out normally. And so I'm just constantly trying to keep things ready to stage at a moment's notice and trying to keep things clean and feeling like I can't even, like, if the kids make a mess, I'm stressed, whereas normally I don't really care. Like, I know we'll clean it up. I'm not worried. But now it's like, oh, more stuff to clean.
Yeah.
Luckily, Arrow has a recent obsession with the handheld vacuum. So that's been really perfect timing. But this morning or last night, I spent the night at my mom's house because we were over there celebrating my stepdad's birthday. And I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stay the night here. I'll get to bed early, which means I can get up early, which means I can try to get some hours in because I didn't work hardly at all last week because of the stress of getting the house ready. And so I'm like, this will be perfect. And I'll just, I'll wake up early and get it all done. And then I don't have to make the house messy for breakfast. I'll just take Arrow to school and one less mess to worry about. Well, I woke up at 4, got out of bed at 4:30, which is an hour ahead of my normal schedule. I was super proud of myself. Got to work by 5, like did my devotion at 4:30, got to work by 5, even did my gratitude. I'm like, yes, I remember my gratitude. I'm feeling good. And at 5:30, my husband called. He did not spend the night. He spent the night at home. And his car wasn't working, and I had the keys to the spare car. So I had to get at 5:30 in the morning. I had to pack up all the stuff, put the kids in the car, and make it here by like 6. So what would have been 2 full hours of solid work ended up being 23 minutes. And I just felt so dejected because I feel like we're in this huge limbo and everything is up in the air and I'm just exhausted. And of course, like that's all my thoughts were. And I felt bad because my husband wasn't going to go back to work, but he is. And I feel like I need to be strong for him. But he just gave me a hug and he's like, you don't have to be strong for me. I'm going to be okay, which is another thing. I don't want him to be at work because of all the stuff that was going on. So I'm worried about him every day he leaves. But he hugged me. He said, I promise you I wouldn't be there if I wasn't okay. And he said, like, so usually at 6 o'clock in the morning, I text him my gratitude, like 3 things I'm grateful for to try to encourage him to text me back 3 things he's grateful for. And he usually doesn't do it, but every now and then he does. Well, today I didn't text him anything I was grateful for because I was in the middle of just feeling sorry for myself. And he texted me that he was grateful that we have an extra car. So like that in itself is a blessing. And he's grateful. Oh, there was something else. I don't remember, but it was just sweet. Like he knew I was sad and feeling bad and whatever. And he texted me. He was grateful that he got to see Arrow this morning before he went to work. So he was looking at the bright side. He was tapping into his wing 7 of being optimistic instead of his normal pessimistic self.
Oh,
yeah. And it was refreshing. And then I put on my essential oils and switched my attitude around and then like played with Arrow for a while. And I'm doing better now. But at first I was just like, oh, I hate it. I hate having my house on the market. It feels exposed. Like, I feel like selling your house is the equivalent of going to the gynecologist. Just everything is open and vulnerable. There's nothing to hide here.
Oh, I feel like it's almost worse.
Anyway.
Because I don't know. Once you go to the gynecologist enough times, it's just like, well, this is what they do. This is routine. This is what happens. And it's done.
So you're saying if I sell my house yearly, then I'll just be used to it.
No, don't do that. That's a terrible financial idea.
Financially, yes. I think. Stress-wise, it's a great idea.
7 in you sounds great, probably.
I know.
Every year.
It does sound, there's a little bit of fun. It sounds like a tiny bit of fun, but more than anything, it sounds like a lot of stress, and I would not do it. Maybe buy a new house every year, but not sell a new house every year.
Yeah, I know. I am very nervous for when that time comes for us.
Oh, it's all right. It's not here, so don't even worry about it.
Yep. Nope. It's not here, so it's not on my calendar. It's not on anything, so it's not even a thought.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's get to our interview.
Okay.
Our very special guest is here.
So
I have very
Can I-
special questions. What?
Can I give a little preface, or are you
Oh,
going to give?
please. No,
So
go ahead.
the preface, like Sierra said, a type 2, and our fear and desire, to be loved, and our fear is that we're not worthy of love or of being unloved. So the premise of this, we came up with this back when we came up with just a whole bunch of topics in general for the podcast. Sierra came up with exploring each of our Enneagram fears. And we felt like this would be perfect. One, because it's, the week before Valentine's Day. So if you're single, or you're just not in a good relationship, or even if you're in a good relationship, but like things are funky right now, sometimes those, especially around Valentine's Day, these feelings come up. So we thought it'd be cool to explore it right now. And Sierra, we were talking about what to do, and I said, I think it'd be cool if you kind of, I don't think I used the word interview, but like ask me, or maybe I did, like ask me questions. She's like, well, can you send me some questions? And I tried looking it up, and I've been listening to a lot of like really cool Enneagram podcasts and stuff lately. And I've heard some other twos talk, which is really fun and insightful. And I was like, honestly, as a 2, we are so good at, or we think we're so good at knowing others and filling others' needs. But one of our real desires is to be known and for other people to want to know us. But we're not good at voicing that. And I was like, I don't even know what questions to ask, but I think it would be good for you to come up with what you just want to know about how my mind or two's minds might work about this subject. So that is where we're going.
Yeah. So also, I think we're, just to touch before we really dive into it, on the fears of different Enneagrams. So we kind of tapped into my fear, which the 7's fear is the fear of pain. We didn't specifically tap into it, but the grief episode was kind of inspired by that thought. So if you are a 7 and you're interested in learning more about how to overcome the fear of pain / grief, go check out that episode. And if you love the Enneagram and you would love to be interviewed based on your fear and your number, and you're not a 7 or a 2, then hey, we've got the other 7 spots open. So reach out and let us know, because we are passionate about the Enneagram simply because we believe that it helps to understand other people better. And it gives you a sense of compassion towards getting to know where people are coming from. So that's our reason for sharing the Enneagram.
And the fears, like I talk, my brother's not quite a believer in this kind of stuff, because he's very, very analytical. And when I told him about, when I like brought up the Enneagram, and he did take the test for me just because he did it for me because he loves me. And my type's fear is being unloved. He's like, well, that's everybody's. I'm like, yeah, but this is like, of course, all the fears can relate to any person. Like we all have these different fears. But this is what like kind of drives or motivates everything, every like thought and decision I might have, to help people understand that part of it.
And if you don't know what your Enneagram number is, and you're like, what the heck are you guys even talking about? Perhaps you still, like, the fear of being unloved might be something that you relate to no matter what number you are. So we're going to really explore how to overcome the fear of being unloved. I have some great takeaways for you, Jessica. I hope you're excited. But in general, like if you struggle with the fear of feeling unloved or unlovable, then this episode should be helpful. So
okay, I'm ready.
Okay. Okay, first of all, I want to take it back to your childhood. So like after doing research on twos, which I have a lot of twos in my life, so I tend to always look at the things that are said about the twos. So one thing that's said is that at some point in your childhood, you were taught, or not necessarily in your childhood, but some point in your life, you were taught that love is earned. Can you think of a moment in your life where you felt like you had to earn love from someone else?
So that's what's always been kind of like a weird disconnect for me, is because and even before I learned about the Enneagram, I was like, why? So I had certain ways of thinking and feeling when I didn't have a messed up childhood. like my parents divorced when I was 8, but that I don't think that really shaped and formed me as
Mhm.
much as it does some other people.
Mhm.
And I don't think it has anything to do with my type, which I also learned is that usually by the time that we're 5, it's kind that our type has kind of formed within us. But listening to other twos and other Enneagram stuff, I realized that one, so I'm a second child out of 2, and my brother is incredibly smart. And my parents were amazing. They did not do this intentionally, but like he was so smart, and my family in general has very intelligent conversations. And now as an adult, I realize I am quite intelligent, but when you have so much of that around you, you feel like you might not be on that level, and you're constantly either trying to prove that you're worthy of being in the conversation,
Mm.
or you're quiet because you have nothing to say or add to it. So I think that was a little bit of it, because I was either constantly trying to prove like, hey, like I know what we're talking about, or oh wait, I don't. Like, and I didn't feel stupid, but I didn't think that I was a bright kid. Like I just thought I was some
Mhm.
average kid because I was surrounded by so much brightness. And it's
Mhm.
not that my parents said you have to do better or you need to be like your brother. It was just kind of I don't know, I guess just a self like actualization or something. Um, so that was one. And then also, I was always told that I was such an easy kid. Like I was easy. I didn't put up fights a lot. I didn't get into trouble. Like I didn't ask for anything. Like I remember my nanny would tell me like she would like get me like a little present or give me $5 or something. She's like, you just never ask for anything, so like it's easy to give to you in like
Aw.
randomly. But it's because I didn't ask for anything. Like I don't know if I don't know how I learned that, but I just knew that I was the easy one. So then I kind of had to keep being the
Mhm.
easygoing child and the easy one. I guess I'm sure in my mind somewhere that connected to, oh, that earns me love because I'm easy. So I'm
Yes.
easy to love. So those
That's,
two things came up literally just in like the past couple days trying to figure that out.
I think it's really interesting how we get put into these boxes as kids based on
Hmm.
things that are told to us. And I realized this a while ago after talking to one of my friends who was uh I identified as a perfectionist. So people would say like why are you such a perfectionist, or why does everything always have to be perfect? And so in her mind, she's not a 1, by the way. Like the
Hmm.
1 is the perfectionist. She's a 5, which I think desires to be. Uh-oh, did you get a call?
Yeah.
No. I think the 5 desires to be like to know things well, or I'm messing that up. But anyway, she she said like it took her a long time to overcome this desire to not be perfect, because people kept drilling it in her head that she's a perfectionist. So she's like, okay, I
Hmm.
have to be perfect. And I think like now, whenever that thought comes to her head, she's like, I rebuke the lie that I am a perfectionist. That's what she says to overcome it.
Mm.
Um, so I like hearing what you just said. I hear there's 2 things that I hear. One, the yes that you were put into this box of like you were the easy one, which I think about all the time with Gray, because I always tell him like, oh, you're such a handful. Oh, you're gonna be a wrecking ball, aren't you? Like I feel like I'm projecting it onto him
I
already.
know. And it's hard. I mean, one, that's like in society, like you do things like that. And then
Yeah.
two, I mean, it's what he's doing. So you're
Mhm.
like, we don't mean it as a bad thing. It's
Right.
just,
But it's labeling, and then they start to think that, and oh, it's so interesting. Like in Montessori, they specifically don't tell children that they're good, so that they
mm,
don't try to achieve goodness, that they
mm,
just feel loved and valued, not for how good they are, which I think
mm,
is really cool. But anyway, the second thing that I heard from that is the fact that even still, the way that you worded it, you said like, oh, it was self-actualization, that I just was around really bright people. You still didn't give yourself credit for being a bright person, and I found that really fascinating, because in that situation you were surrounded by your very educated father, who was an adult, and your older brother. So like, yes, he's smart, but he also has 2 3 years on you.
yeah,
How?
he's
Yeah.
almost 4 years older.
Yeah. Almost 4? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
so
he
like
was like, I
you're
mean, they call it like when he was 3, they're like, oh, he's like a little 30-year-old.
so you're 5 sitting with a 9-year-old who has the intelligence of a 9-year-old. I mean, that's even, or look at, that's like Emmeline versus Arrow right now. I would never compare their intelligence because they're in
Yeah.
such different places. But you, as that little kid, thought, wow, my brother's so smart. I'll never be like that. Even though you didn't understand, your brain just hasn't developed there yet. And
Yeah.
so I
And
would err,
my parents never said anything like that.
right.
So that's
So
why
I
it was
feel
so
like,
hard for me to like get like where did that come from? Like it didn't come from someone else telling me that. But
I think it was just from your young brain not understanding that you would get there one day. Because I think you are just as smart as your brother. You just didn't go to law school, so you
well, we
don't
have
have
very
that.
different ways of being smart. And I realized that as I grew up, like he's very analytical and I mean he can yeah, he's very book smart too. He didn't do well and he's one of those kids that's like super, super bright, but like didn't do well in school because he had whatever issues. Um, Whereas I did really well in school, but I didn't, like SAT scores. Like my SAT scores were not the same as his, and that was never put
Mhm.
on me. I just knew what it was. Um, so yeah, but now I realize, whoa, I have these other strengths of intelligence of different sorts.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, so
Mhm.
I have. Oof,
Gray
I'm.
is out.
I know. I know. I keep trying to like wobble his head back to my back, but it's not working. Um, so I sent this to you back, I think, in July, but and I remember you being like, I don't know, but now that you've done a little bit more research, maybe one of these will relate. So this was the type 2 origin story, very
Yeah.
Batman-esque.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so it's once upon a time there was a very young child. As a child, little 2 likely had the experience of, and there's 3 different options, which could be multiple, or you tell me
Mhm.
if you relate. Okay, 1, childhood needs not being met, basic or emotional.
Um, See, when I read that, yeah, it's hard to think about, but it could have been the fact that I was kind of a latchkey kid
Mm,
because both my parents worked full time, and especially once we moved to Florida and then they separated and divorced. I mean, by third grade, I was getting off the bus and like had my own key to the apartment.
yeah.
So
Okay.
that,
2, receiving attention only if they were helping or pleasing others.
I don't know. I feel like we did family stuff. Like, I don't think that I only got attention for being helpful.
Okay. Or little two's role in the family system was one of being forgotten or being the caregiver.
Not forgotten. The caregiver, the only way I could see that coming in like young childhood, was the fact that I was like the easygoing, want to please kid. So like even
Mhm.
I remember sitting when we still all lived together, sitting around the dinner table, and I knew that like my parents loved getting like karate chop on their back. So like I remember being excited to like go karate chop their back and like
Yeah.
happy in that way, like take care of them. And other kids, I mean, I have very young memories of taking care of my friends, like even at the preschool level, like wanting, like I was like the mommy.
So I feel like with the Enneagram, they often base these things off of a bad childhood. Like these are the
Mhm.
bad things that could have happened to your childhood, but you seem to have like a really healthy childhood.
Yeah,
So
which is why
perhaps,
it's hard to figure out what it was that like caused this because it
Mhm.
wasn't bad,
Right.
say.
Well, so what my thought was is this is worded receiving attention only if they were helping or pleasing to others. So maybe it wasn't that you received attention only if, but that it's you received extra attention for
Mhm.
helping or pleasing others. Like you were told you're
In my
easy, which is
mind, that wired. Yeah.
pleasing. Yeah. So it's not that you were like mistreated in any way, but it's that you were told you were easy and that made people happy. and you thought, oh, I please others when I am easy, when I give what they want. And that's, wow, fascinating. All right, let's see what else I got here. If there's anything else that, okay, so here's some coping mechanisms. Tell me if these relate. Do you process shame of having acknowledged your own needs? Like when you give to yourself versus Emmeline or Jet, do you feel shame?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh at you.
No, because only like, so it's funny. This is, and I was thinking about this even just the other night when I was doing dinner. Like, this has happened to me so much, and I thought that it was like me being a bad person. And it's like the silliest little thing that it's the only example I can think of. It's like I'm prepping dinner, even when it was just Gabe and I'm prepping dinner, and like there's like the really good piece of whatever it is, or like the last strawberry or whatever. And I'm like, I really want this, but I shouldn't. So I should give it to them because I love them. But then sometimes I would take it and then I felt really bad.
That's
And I think that's
intense.
it showing up.
Yeah. My gosh. I usually see that last strawberry. I look over my shoulder and make sure they're not looking and shove it in my mouth with
Well,
no
exactly.
regret.
No, but I feel immense shame and guilt. Although, but then when I've done it recently, I'm like, you know what? I think that's showing up, and they probably don't give a shit.
They definitely don't. They definitely don't. Okay, so one of the other things that I found in my research is that
Ooh, I love your clipboard. It's so official.
oh, thank you. I didn't realize you could see it. Ooh. I like it because it's rose gold. Anyway, now I hit my spring. Um, so oh, so you're like I think one thing that twos tend to do is so you have this impulse to serve that is like second nature to you. So it doesn't make sense when other people don't feel the same way. Do you feel like that?
So that is like the like mid to unhealthy too, I think. Um, and it can definitely still pop up, but I'm so much more conscious of it that I push it aside. I mean, it still comes up, and then I'm like, no, like, um,
So how have you overcome that?
just by being knowledgeable about it, I think, and realizing, like, just like I talked about in our gifting episode, you don't have to get back what you give. The point of giving is just to give, and that the reward in itself is the giving. As long as you want to be doing it. If you don't want to be doing it, don't do it.
Yeah.
Because then you're super gonna feel like you deserve something back.
Right.
But I used to do it, and I didn't think that it wasn't like I was trying to be mean or anything, or like I don't know. But I definitely had that thought in my head of like, ooh, like you go to this person's birthday party, they like and give them a gift, they need to come to yours and give you a gift, like that kind of thing. Or like, not necessarily that I kept a tab of like things I've done to like deserve it back. And not that but I like kind of expected, it was like, oh, like, I do good things for this person. They're probably going to do good things for me. And then I would get a little bit resentful when they didn't. Not that I necessarily expected it, but when it didn't happen, I felt resentful, and that didn't feel good. But I didn't know I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know why. So I just would feel that way and eventually like push it to the side. But once I learned more about it, and especially learning about the Enneagram and understanding that about myself, and that not everyone feels that way too, I was like, oh. And I don't know, just kind of like self-development into learning that giving is you give for the sake of giving. I think that's just how I overcame it is self-improvement.
I feel like it's also important. I mean, I'm not a two, so I can't speak from this, but I know that I have had that feeling before of why isn't this person I'm giving so much, why aren't they reciprocating? And for me, like for my own understanding of others and through the Enneagram and such, like Enneagram or not, just knowing people,
Mm-hmm.
I've realized that it's just not in everyone's nature
Mm-hmm.
to be a giving heart. It doesn't mean that they're trying to be selfish. It doesn't mean
Doesn't
that
mean
they
that
hate you. It doesn't mean what?
doesn't mean that they're bad or anything.
Right. Yeah, it's just that that's not in their nature. It's almost like something has to be taught to them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, Jay, my husband, he's not a physically affectionate guy. He doesn't like to hold my hand. He doesn't come over and just rub my back, but he knows I like it, so it's something he has to work on constantly. I know if he's holding my hand, he put a lot of thought
Mm-hmm.
into that. Whereas to me, it comes natural. Like I'm just going to reach over and hold his hand. And I think it's the same with the giving spirit of of and it's not just about being somebody who wants to give. I think at our core, most people who are kind people want to give, but it's just that it doesn't come natural. So they oh, I lost my thought. Dang it, there it goes again.
Oh, is it under? Is it over? Is it here?
Yes, that's it. Hold on, let me read it. My glasses are dirty. It was that they oh, it's that, yes, thank you. That is very much it. It's that it doesn't come natural that people can empathize and understand someone else's needs. That's the part that doesn't come natural. It's not that they don't want to give to you, it's that they don't see, oh, hey, this girl needs my help to come in and like pick up the crying baby because she's dealing with another kid or whatever. That's what I need help with. I don't know what everybody else needs help with. But people, it's about, we all have different skills and different things that we're just kind of blessed with. And intuition of others' needs is something that you were very clearly blessed with, which I think is a huge part of your two nature. So maybe it has nothing to do with your childhood and everything to do with your intuition, you know?
I mean, yeah, that is part of it too. And I know it's part of the two, but also part of what was I just thinking? Part of other people is the like you have to be able to ask for what you need because not everybody has that intuition. And as a two, that's especially hard because one, sometimes I don't even know what it is that I actually need. And because I'm so in tune to other people and what they need and want, and I'm so like good at giving that, it's like, well, why can't they do that for me? Like, why can't they just know what I need and want and like do it?
Yeah.
Like, it's easy for me.
Right.
So and then when that happens, it's like well, obviously, like they don't care about me enough or they don't love me enough. Like, that's like the inside thought, not like the actual realization, but that's the inside thought of or feeling of, well, they just don't care enough then. Like, I care so much about them and they don't care as much. So they can't figure it out or like they haven't put the thought into it like I would. And I think that's especially like I'm sure other people have it too, but like that's a very two feeling.
Yeah. Something I thought of based on that, but from the notes. Hold on.
The two notes.
My two notes. Oh, okay. So, another thing that I learned about you too is that you are often so very aware of others' needs that you are, but not that, but it's just, but you're detached from your own needs.
Mm-hmm.
So, how can you explain, like, how does it make sense for us to understand your needs if you don't understand your needs?
Well, that's kind of like what I was just saying just before this is it comes second nature to me to understand what you want when sometimes like, like I could easily do something for someone, like even like, I don't know if it was we were recording or not, but you said, did you upload the YouTube video last week?
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like I knew that that's what was needed. So I did it. And you're like, oh, I didn't even know that like I needed that, like, or to ask that. So it's like, if I can do that, how can other people not do it for me? Like I can fill some needs of other people without them realizing that was something that they were needing or wanting, but they love it. And then it's, so it comes second nature to me to do that. So why do I need to tell you, especially if I don't even know it? But sometimes you don't know it and I can feel it.
Well, okay, so I think in that situation, I knew I needed it. I just forgot to ask. And I mean, I guess there are situations.
Well, that was just me trying to think of like an easy
Right.
goal.
But I still feel like if you ask me what I need, I can tell you. I can list the things I need. So, and for me, I find it is helpful to be able to tell like Jay, hey, these are the things I need and I'm not getting this from you. So then he's able to fill it. So for you, how
Well,
can
so
somebody fill your needs if you can't communicate them to me?
and I don't know if this is just more recently, it's probably more recent just from like doing the work, but I know what I need usually, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I sit down and think about it enough, I know what I need. Like I can explain to Jed what I need. Like when it
Okay.
comes up, like I can be like, yo, I'm just letting you know, like this is not being met. And so this is what it's making me feel. And this is like, I can see this spiraling this way if we don't handle it. Um, but the wanting to please others, if I feel that what I need from somebody is either going to like make them angry or upset or think differently of me and then not receive as much love, like I don't know how to express it then.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I have a solution
Including
for
with
you.
some, like you and like some of my closest friends. Like that's just it's
Yeah.
how I've been wired for so long, and it's definitely something I'm working on, but it's hard.
So I have something that might help because I can tell you all the live long day how I do it, but at the end of the day, we're very different people.
Mm-hmm.
So this. I'm very excited about this. I learned something about you as a two that like what you can tap into to resolve this very problem.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just, I mean, this is my deductive reasoning. This isn't something that somebody said, but I just kind of put the pieces together. So what I learned, so we always talk about like, okay, so in stress you become an 8,
Mm-hmm.
which is, can you describe an 8?
The 8, the unhealthy parts of an 8 is they get domineering, aggressive, want to take control of everything, but they can also, in their unhealthy state, because 8s in their unhealthiness goes towards a 5 who retreats. I just heard this today, and I was like, oh, well, that totally makes sense too, because we either get domineering and controlling, I want to control the situation, and or we retreat, just like
Mm-hmm.
the unhealthy 8 who goes to a 5.
Mm-hmm. And then in rest you become a 4, which is creative
Mm-hmm. Get more
and
creative, accept, like completely self-accepting because, like enjoying the unique qualities of myself, wanting to be who I am, and like, yeah.
so what I deducted today based on the wording of, so a lot of what I'm getting, even the young 2, I think, oh no, that wasn't from uh Enneagram and Coffee. I think that was from Just My Enneatype. I will put these in the show notes. Some of the Enneagram places we follow that we really enjoy. One is on Instagram, Just My Enneatype, and the other one is Enneagram and Coffee. And I was listening to her podcast on the 2,
Mm-hmm.
and she was talking about how 2s can tap in to their inner 8. And the way she worded it, I realized, so you even just said like, oh, I become the unhealthy parts of an 8.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not actually it. It's in stress, you turn to an 8. So it means when something is not great in life, you start to act like an 8. But that doesn't mean that you only act like the bad parts of an 8. You also have the power of
Mm-hmm.
the strong parts of an 8. So whenever you are feeling stressed out from being unloved, you need to tap in to the high level of the 8, which includes developing personal power, caring less about the reactions of others, and expressing yourself confidently, directly, and often. So when you become the very like strong-headed 8 because life is stressful, you can try to tap into their strengths versus their weaknesses and communicate exactly what you want to get what you actually need.
Yeah. And that is way easier said than done.
Well, yeah, I know. But then you can also, there's also a way to tap into the 4, which in this situation, which is to enhance your self-exploration, which is something you talked about. Just learning more about yourself, I think, really helps.
Yeah.
To know that not everybody thinks like you. So just because they're not giving back doesn't mean they don't love you. And B, learning the ways to communicate what you need by learning more about yourself and what you actually need.
Yeah. Something I was listening to, I think it was, I looked up like on YouTube this morning too, after I listened to some podcast stuff. And I looked up like I don't know if I looked up like Enneagram 2 being unloved or something, but I found this one guy who's married to a 2. And he was like, so I'm pretty knowledgeable on 2s because they've been married for like almost 30 years or something. And I think he does other Enneagram stuff. And he was saying, oh, I lost a little bit. He was talking about like when they get unhealthy or in stress. I should have written it down. Like talking about how they can go towards the 8 or go to like the seclusion. And nope, totally lost it.
Dang it.
That
was a really good story.
Good thought too. I don't know.
So it's about enhancing your self-exploration.
No, but I can say that so in times in my life where I've kind of been forced to be by myself, which is not ever something that came natural to me because I wanted to be around people because then I feel loved because I'm around people and then I feel better or whole or whatever. So, I was married to a Marine and I went through we went through 4 deployments together, but 2 of them I lived in Jacksonville, North Carolina by myself. We didn't have kids yet. I didn't have a whole lot of friends in that area. And so I spent a lot of time by myself. And the second deployment is when I got much healthier myself, especially because our marriage was not very healthy right before he left. But I was like, okay, I realized digging deep into myself and like learning to enjoy being alone and learning what I enjoy to do majorly got me to a much healthier place, which was me probably tapping into my 4, which got our marriage to a healthier place when he got home because I was in such a healthy place myself. And then even, once we divorced and Emmy would have to go with him, or not have to, but Emmy would go with him for, whatever times we agreed upon. And I was alone again, which sucked. It took me a few times. Then I was like, okay, like this is your life. You have to accept it. You have to figure out how to be happy in this. So again, I just got back into this is my me time. This is my time where I get to like crochet or podcast once that started or other things that even if I don't hang out with other people at that time, it's okay. And like figuring myself out. And I got to a much better place again. So it's kind of, and I mean, I had a major fear growing up of being alone one day. So like a divorce was terrifying because all of a sudden that was coming true.
Yeah.
Like especially growing up like into like middle school and high school, and I was kind of a shyer person, which came off as, I've been told it came off more as too mature, and so people didn't know what to do with me. But like I didn't date through high school. I thought it was because I was shy and not wanted. I think a lot of it was I gave off this air of maturity. Like people even told me like in like the later years of high school, like, oh, like I just thought you were dating older guys somewhere else. Like you had nothing to do with high school people.
That's funny.
And I think I also missed some signs from some people that tried because I thought it wasn't a thing for me. Like I wasn't wanted or desired. Um, like, so I often really thought that I was going to be alone one day. And I was terrified of that because that's terrifying for someone who just wants to be loved and wanted and known. So yeah, that like when I've been a little confused sometimes, I'm like, oh, well, like maybe I could be a different number. Like maybe I'm not really a two because so there's quite a few other types that could get confused as a two, and especially many women I've heard in the past week on different things that I've read and listened to. So many women identify with the two because they are the giver, caretaker, helper, and that's like the gender role of women that is like given to us. Um, but then when I like learn that and hear that and think about like my like growing up even as a teenager and feeling those things, I'm like, I don't like of course teenagers think that stuff. I'm guessing like maybe everybody does, but like I was so deep in it. I'm like, yes, I'm full on a two.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I never feared that as a teenager. So
But
there you go.
yeah.
Yeah. I didn't, I mean, like maybe I feared not getting a boyfriend, but I didn't fear not being loved. So I do think that is deeper in you.
Yeah.
Um,
But then
so
once I did that work, like the deployment and then after the divorce, like doing that work on loving myself, I guess, like getting to know myself and loving myself and being happy when I am alone as well,
mhm.
really helped me to get over the fear of being unloved. Because if I always, like, I always have myself. And if I can be happy with that, then I can be happy in any situation.
Yeah. Hmm. Um, I think that, so again, like how you were saying, how you felt like this as a teenager, the desire to be loved. And in the same way that it's intrinsic that you know the needs of others and how to meet them, I think that there's also these burdens that are inside of you that just kind of come up naturally that I think we all have them. They just all look different.
Mhm.
Um, so like I wrote these down too. Some of the burdens of the two,
Mhm.
um, I just want, well, okay.
Go for it.
Well, I'm going to read them, but I was going to say that all of these burdens, I feel like you will relate to. But before I even say them, I want you to know that they are not true. Like they're the burden in your heart, but it's not true. So, one is that others depend on you for help, which can be met with, like, that is a lie that can be met with the truth that others can fend for themselves. Help is nice, but not necessary.
Mhm.
Two is that you are needed, but do not need. So that is a lie that can be met with your needs are just as valuable as every other person in your house. So even in your kids, like, yes, technically right now in your stage of life, Emmeline does depend on you. You are the mother, you have to take care of her. However, that doesn't mean that her needs are more important than yours. It doesn't ever mean that anyone's needs take precedence over yours. Yours are equally as valuable because if your needs aren't met, then you're not strong enough to give what others need, which we've talked about a lot. And then the last one is that you are only as lovable as you are giving, which is a lie that can be met with you're freaking totally lovable and your gifts are appreciated, but not necessary in any way, shape, or form. Like, I think for as a non two, like receiving your gifts are like it's a pleasant surprise. It's a delightful thing that cheers my day, but it's not necessary for me to function. What's necessary for me to function is knowing that I have your friendship, knowing that our friendship is strong, your
Mhm.
honesty, your vulnerability, and your authenticity, not anything that you could ever possibly do for me. So that's from the outside looking in. But
Well, I forget what word they use for it. I think sometimes they use the word sin, but like there's like the sins of each.
Yeah.
And the 2 is pride, which, and it can be like, I think it was on the podcast Typology, they were saying like it can be the worst one, quote unquote, for the fact that, one, pride is a good thing. Like we look at pride, like the word pride, and we're like, it's good to have pride in yourself. It's good to, like that's something that's celebrated. But what we take pride in can be very, very tricky, because we take pride in the fact that we believe we know what others need more than anyone else. Like we think that we need that. And so that's why we like fulfill those needs and give them, just like you were saying, the burden of like your gifts are nice, but they're not needed. And it's like to a 2, we're like, but yes, they are. Like, I know what's best. It's very tricky when that's what you've been doing your whole life, and you're like, but that's why that's why you love me, isn't it? Like, because I do these things, but it's not true that that's the main reason or the only reason. So yeah, but like I said, the figuring out, I mean, I think that this is good advice for anybody, figuring out how to love yourself and be happy completely within yourself. Nothing else needs to complete you but you, is the key to always feeling loved.
Yeah.
Like I even say to Emmeline, especially because I realized this luckily before she was born. And when I was pregnant with her, even like so many people in my family, or even on both sides, were so excited about her, and like they were kind of in like iffy spots in themselves. So like they were so excited for her to bring them joy. And I remember being pregnant and being like, oh my gosh, like that is such a huge burden on this baby. Like,
Yeah.
geez. So as she grew up, and especially recently, like I always let her know, listen, I am happy or not happy because of me, but I will be happy and you add to my happiness. But that has nothing to do with whether I am happy or not. So I try to let her know, like, listen, you have zero responsibility for my happiness or anybody else's happiness, just your own. Because I feel like if we could all hear that more and figure that out younger, like that is a huge, any relationship issue that a friend talks to me about, it always comes down to each other, or at least one of the people blaming the other for their unhappiness. Because they have whatever issue is going on or has been going on for who knows how long. And when we find it within ourselves, and especially when 2 people can find it within themselves and not depend on the other person for it, that creates a happy relationship of any sort. Gray agrees.
Gray agrees. Hell yeah. That's what it sounded like you said.
That's right. He loves me.
He does. You are loved. If you ever feel unloved, just call Gray. He'll remind you how loved you are.
Yes.
Well, that's yeah. The biggest takeaways that I got were that you just need to be open to receiving love and communicate your needs.
Yeah.
So tell me what you need.
Oh,
let this be your burden. I need to know what you need.
That one thing from the guy, it kind of came to me. He was talking about, so like people, like, you saying that, like, just tell me what you need. But oh crap, did I just lose it again? Oh, it was right there. It was such a good thought of his. Oh, well, like our feeling as 2s, especially, our feelings can get hurt very easily. So like if someone is like, well, it's easy for me to tell other people what I need, like why can't you do it, or something like that? It's like, it's so hard. And when you're telling me that I don't know how to do something that you want me to do,
the
feelings get hurt too. And like that's how we can do the retreating. And like, okay,
So
well, I don't even know, like, why did I even bother? Or, you know, something like that. Like, I thought I was doing my best. I thought I was helping. I thought I was doing it right. And now I'm being told, no, you're still doing it wrong. Okay, well then I don't, I don't know. And it doesn't compute and I retreat. That was the
wait,
thing.
but so are you're um
It's a lot,
are
I
you
know.
no, I'm just trying to make sure that makes that I'm following. Are you saying that by me telling you to communicate what you need, you feel like you're failing by not knowing how to communicate?
Yes.
Is that okay? Okay, I'm following. I had a thought based on that too. What was it? Um, oh, well, it kind of isn't based on that. But it was just so in the things that I was listening to, it was talking about what you kind of have the potential to become when you're healthy.
Mhm.
So in case anyone needs some encouragement for like if you're feeling defeated and you're like, what the heck? I think maybe this will encourage where like the possibilities. So healthy twos can be very philanthropic,
Mhm.
sometimes overly philanthropic. So you don't want to like be giving and giving and giving out of like a wing one can give because they have to make it right because they want
Yeah.
justice. So you
I
don't want to overgive.
I
No.
don't think that's okay.
The wing three, like a very healthy two wing three, um, becomes like how did she word it? They are they give great advice, they become well respected for their leadership qualities, they're very organized. I think you're a wing three.
Well, I know.
But they say you can tap into both, like
Yeah, I mean, I really think because I can see how a one can come, like one quality can come to me too. Like I want things to be correct and true, and I do not want to be viewed as, you know, incorrect or bad. Like that's a
yeah,
huge flaw and wonderful thing about me
yeah,
is that I mean, I will not stand behind something or fight for something trying to say like some whatever the truth is if I don't know for a fact that it's true.
right,
Just keep my
yeah,
mouth shut.
yeah.
But that comes back to, I mean, that's a little bit of like the one in me, but that comes back to the, because if I'm wrong, then I'm dumb and then people won't love me.
Oh, well, I think there's a lot of dumb people out there that are really loved. So
Unfortunately, sometimes.
you can get rid of that thought. That's terrible. Oh my
Well,
gosh.
I'm not saying that I believe in it, but I can see how that thought process has happened in me many times.
Yeah.
And how that became part of my personality.
Mhm. Well, oh, my Roomba's going off again.
You're what?
My Roomba.
You're,
Error 6. Move Roomba to a new location.
listen, Rosie.
Yeah, she's
I
got a
just love
lot to say. What?
that you named her Rosie.
Jay did after the Jetsons robot.
Yep.
Yep.
See, Jay and I get each other in those kind of ways.
There you go. All right. Well, I think we did it again. Do you
Yep.
feel?
I think we did.
All right. Well, in that case, thanks for joining us. Thank you for coming to us when you felt unloved. I hope that we were able to give you some sort of encouragement to communicate your needs and to know that no matter what anybody says or thinks about you, that really doesn't define you. You define you. So love yourself and be open. Love yourself and open yourself up, and then all the other love will come pouring in.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be vulnerable. That's hard. That is the hardest part of this life.
It's hard work, but it is so worth it.
Totally pays off. The vulnerability and self-recognition.
Mm.
Well, I already mentioned it, but go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. I know you were so hanging on to every word, so you didn't get to that subscribe button yet, but let's bring it back. Go on, find that subscribe button, give us a rating, send us a review. And now that you've listened to the whole episode, you can share it and share your thoughts on it. If you're listening on Spotify or iTunes or Apple Podcasts. I don't know what it's called. But either way, there's a little share function. You can click it, click share to Instagram. You can send it via text message, however you want to share. And if you do share it on Instagram, tag us at inrawlife.co. So we see you sharing us and we'll share you sharing us. And it's a great, it's like a big hug, all the love. Give us that little send of love and we would greatly appreciate it.
If you would love to be a part of our podcast and get some love back in that way, you can send us a voice recording of yourself telling us what you believe it means to be strong. All of us have different opinions. We want to hear yours. So you can send a recording saying being strong means or strength to me means, and you can email that to podcast@inrawlife.com. Is there anything else? Or did we cover it all? We covered it. Dang, we're good at this.
We got it.
Look at us. Until next week, I hope that you take the Enneagram test and get to know yourself a little better. Figure it out, do some research. You are the most important person in your life. It's true. And getting to know yourself and understanding yourself might be the best thing you've ever done for yourself and for others. If you're feeling lonely or out of whack this Valentine season, try to make some sort of tradition for yourself that is showing yourself love, and whoever might be in your proximity on Valentine's Day, love as well. Because when you create that tradition, whether you're with someone or not, it kind of helps you to always rely on that and be happy and loving and in love with yourself on Valentine's Day. We hope that you have a happy Valentine's Day. Bye.
Happy Valentine's Day. Can you say Happy Valentine's Day? Happy Valentine Day. We got it.
Yeah, there it is. Done.
All right. Stop. Got to save this quick. My battery is dying. Time is it? 11. Perfect. Oh, yay. All right. Bye, YouTube. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.